Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to our small little celebration of 500 strong literates. Thank y'all for coming. I just rolled off my couch. I woke up this morning and was awake. I woke up, brushed my teeth, was like, all right. And then I went back to my couch and I laid down. So the reason I'm sleeping on my couch, this is my second night sleeping on my couch, because my parents are coming and they're going to be in my room. Now, let me just say this. I was in an apartment with 2 bedrooms, like 2 full bedrooms and an office for 2 years, and they did not come. And now I have downsized to an apartment that makes more sense for me. Like, I'm one person, no one ever visits me, and here they come. Literally, I'm like, had you come 2 years ago, I wouldn't be so pressed about you coming now, and we would have both been able to sleep in beds. But I'm on my couch, so it's fine. It's fine. My sister says they're packing now. Good. Their flight is at 4. So yeah, I'm just like, why? So I'm practicing sleeping on my couch, which I got this futon like no. Wow, that's not 4 years ago. Say 3.5. And I'm just like, this couch, I used to swear by the comfort of this couch, and now I'm on this couch trying to figure out how to turn so that it's not persecuting me. So I don't know. So I've given myself these 3 days to try to figure out how to make it work. So here we are. But anyway, that's my spiel. So I was back on my couch and I fell asleep, and it was a good sleep, and I didn't want to disturb it. Then I rolled over and it was 12:33, and I was like, well, now we got to move. So if I look not fully awake, I wasn't half an hour ago, but now I am. Happy to be here. Heather, thank you for popping in. Notification just came in. Notification wasn't too late. Notification wasn't coming in too late. Thank you, T. I mean, it wasn't that behind. It was like 2 minutes. It's been later before, so we'll take it. We will absolutely take it. All right. Thank y'all for coming. I'm just gonna pull up these questions. Y'all didn't ask me that many, so we're not gonna be here long, which is fine with me. I just wanted to do something to show my thanks for y'all rocking with me like y'all have been. Super appreciate it. You know, it would be easier to pull this up on my computer. I thought that it wouldn't, because my computer was being slow. But here's the thing about apps. They don't work the exact same as they do on whatever this is called. Computer. Yeah. So sometimes it is just better to do what you do. Hope y'all are having a good Saturday. Thanks for coming to spend that like half an hour of it with me, because I don't expect it to be much longer. All right. All right, so we've got a handful of questions. Let's get into it. So the first question was from Vina. What books made you become a reader? I'm not even gonna hold you. I don't remember, because I've just been a reader for so long. And I should preface it with saying that my dad is an English teacher. Thank y'all for all the congratulations. Y'all are so sweet. Hi, Valerie. Thanks for joining. Yes, The Nails by my friend Shania. Y'all, when she takes her business official, you're not going to be able to stop me from shouting Nails by Nia to the rooftops. But yes, I rock her nails every month. Really, at this point, it's like 2 styles a month, and I pay her a subscription of $30 per month for 2 nails. I'm trying to tell you, Wait till she goes public. Now, obviously, I'm not paying Shippy because I see her every week at church and sometimes on the weekends. So it may not be that exact price for you. But what I'm saying is, are the styles not giving? It's giving fall to me. I don't know if you can see the little leaf stickers, but it's giving fall to me. But I'll post a picture on my Instagram later today or just later, because it matches the Wings of Ebony cover so much. So I'll post a picture. Thank you. Oh goodness. Are we gonna table that question? I don't want to trigger myself. I'm kidding. That wouldn't trigger me today. Okay, what book made you become a reader? So my dad is an English teacher. And so I feel like I don't remember a time when I wasn't reading. Like I remember the Scholastic library, like book sale or whatever, when they give the kids the little magazine and you have to take them to your parents and they check mark which books they gonna buy and they send you back a check. I remember that, and I remember getting like, when you give a mouse a cookie or something, like when you give a mouse a cookie, he will ask for a glass of milk. Like so, and that's like a children's picture book. So I'm like, if I remember reading that, then it must have been since I was like 4 or 5 or something. So I think more than what books made me become a reader, it was my parents feeling that well and encouraging me to be a reader. Can I have a book was treated with as much like indulgence as can I have a Girl Scout cookie. Both of those are very serious requests. And they treated them both very seriously, and I appreciate them for that. And so Heather, that's for very young children. I still love it. I still rock it when you give a mouse a cookie. That whole franchise owes me nothing. They did their job. So that's what made me become a reader, really. These amazing books that are entertaining and bright and colorful, like all the things that children's books do to encourage young readers. And then my parents encouraging me to be a young reader, just normalizing that. I was never afraid that if I asked them for a book or to go to a library, the answer was going to be no. I could count on that being a yes more than anything, really. So it was that encouraged me to be a reader. Craft Blend asked the next question. What are your favorite genres, favorite poems? What aspects of writing do you like, dislike? Okay, so that's a readerly and a writerly question. Thank you. My favorite genres are romance, fantasy, and a very new addition to the favorite genres, cozy mysteries. I am really loving cozy mysteries right now. And as much as Shay will say, oh, Britt has me reading YA, Shay got me reading these mysteries. Like we've just swapped. So, and I love it. I'm loving it. Like I was listening to a cozy right before I got ready. It's almost done. And I'm just like, wow. I didn't see that coming. Now, maybe Shay would have, but like the mean girl did it. I don't know. Sometimes you just don't expect the person who's just like been mean to do something, to like level up in their meanness. It's like, you were mean like that? Like, I just thought that you were a heifer. Like, I didn't know you was a murderous heifer. Like, dang. But anyway, so those are my 3 favorite genres right now. I read romance and cozies when I need to back off of fantasy because I find fantasy just overwhelming to read sometimes. I have to pay attention to every little thing, but with romance, less so. And with cozies, less so. I mean, I could pay really, really good attention and be like rewarded for that, or I could just sort of coast through to the end of the story and be fine with that. I can use it as white noise or pay attention. And I really appreciate the flexibility because you can't do that with fantasy. You're paying attention or put it down because you're wasting your time. With cozies, it's like, if you're listening for the banter, I ain't gonna hold you, and we're gonna get to this killer in like 20 chapters. So, you know, buckle up or don't, it's your decision. I appreciate that flexibility. Was I Shay would know. I honestly don't remember. Was I? If she says I was, I was. Was I reading them this much? That I don't know. That I was reading them isn't really a question, although I did know that they were called Cozy Mysteries. So that's probably why I don't remember reading Cozy Mysteries before, because I didn't know that they were called Cozy Mysteries. But I am reading them a lot now. So I don't know if that's Shay or just me like realizing how much I love it. But definitely the fact that my primary critique partner is a cozy mystery writer encourages me to continue to be like reading the genre. Absolutely. Hashtag murderous heifer. Man, they just out here. Well, look at that. Get you a friend that can keep the receipts, especially if you know that your memory is just not beat for it. Okay. So that was the first part of Craftblend. Craftblend, tell me that you have not ever told me your name and I continue to call you by your handle. Let it not be so. And if it is so, charge it to my head and not my heart. But tell me your name, if you ever did, one more again. And I won't probably forget it. Because now I remember asking you for it. Or if you're like, no, just call me by my handle, that's what it's always been, then that's fine. So that was the first part of your question. The second, favorite poems. Favorite poems. I mean, anything by Rudy Francisco. Can we just start there? Anything by Rudy Francisco. I also really love Zora Howard. Her poem Before Bed is amazing. It starts off bobby pin crowns, and from then I knew that I was gonna love it. And I was right. I love it. The heater is really doing its job, which is great, but I don't actually need it to anymore. I was using it to like intensify my snuggle game on the couch. But the heat on my apartment is actually on, so I don't need them both. And the candle, and y'all can't see that, but I'm like fully surrounded by fire and heat. Anyway, yeah, so I love so many poems. I think Nikki Giovanni is a freaking boss. I think her poem, Ego Trippin', I would love for my ego to trip like that. I love her poem. I mean, love, wow, what a word. But like, I think her poem, I think it's called Middle Passage, is really powerful and visceral. So just so many different poets whose work I love and appreciate. June Jordan's poem about revolution and taking all the parts of herself out, or having all the parts of herself show up. And I'm paraphrasing, but it's something like the day when all the parts of me can show up in every space, that will be the day that we have a revolution. And she was talking about like the day when like her queer self can also show up in Black spaces, and her Black self can also show up in queer spaces. And I think that's just such a powerful poem. So June Jordan, yeah, I could go on forever, but like Carvin's Lassant, which like now he's doing theater, love that for him. But yeah, so many powerful. Joshua Bennett, who is now a professor at Harvard, Cornell, Cambridge. He's been around, but he has a poetry book called The Sobbing School. He's just a powerful poet. I love how he talks about emotions. I love how he talks about Black boys and feeling emotions. His poem Hip Hop I love because it so shows the kinship between poetry, particularly spoken word, and hip hop, specifically rap. So I love it so much. That's a list from like more classical poets, I guess, classical, to like spoken word, like looser form poets. Love them all. Okay, and then the final part of your question was, what aspects of writing do you like and dislike? I love writing banter. Anyone who has read any of my work, whether it was like Tales of Eliza Black when it was still on my channel, beta readers, CPs, they can tell you I love banter. Like I just love it. And I love the drafting process when I can just go. I don't have to be thinking about, does this make sense? Like, the outline is there. We're just writing. I don't have to be responsible to any like structure. I don't have to think about how publishing is going to take it. I can just create. I love the drafting process. What part do I dislike is the pitching process. I hate it. I hate trying to figure out how to tell someone what my book is about or why they should read it. I just want you to pick it up and read it. But you know, we're going to do this traditional publishing thing, such as life. All right. And then Shay came through and asked me about 11 questions. So let me embiggen my screen. But first, wait, someone asked me a question in the stream. Yes, Margaret asked me how the scholarly research is going. It's going. It's going. For those of you who don't know, I'm researching monsters. That is a very like productive way to like explain it, but what I'm not going to do on a Saturday is ... So I'm researching monsters and monstrosity, and it's going well. I finished chapter 2. I'm working on like the revisions for chapter 2, and then I will be at rest for the rest of the calendar year, and then I will pick up on chapter 3, which is the final chapter of my dissertation, and that's going to be what I focus on for the spring. And I am ready for that chapter because that chapter, so I like the first chapter is on zombies, which is why I'm so loving reading The Undead Truth of Us. Oh, and I was talking to Shay last night. I was like, the grammar of monstrosity in this book, it's in the grammar. But anyway, I'm loving that. And then chapter 2 is about ghosted mediums. That's also fun. There's so much. It's just hard to like choose what to focus on and run with it for a chapter. But that's done, or a phase of it is done, and we're moving with that. And then chapter 3 is on the apocalypse, and I'm like, let's talk about how the end of the world be changing structures. Let's get into it. So I love my topic. I love all the different ways that it allows me to think. I love the way that speculative genres allow me to think, because these writers are just so like turning, like they're Rubik's cubing the existence, like being. They're just, what if this? What if that? What if that? And then, well, what if that happened and that made this happen? Like, I just love the way that they play with causality and historicity. I love it. So research is going well. I wish I could be reading more, and I could be, but like my process for scholarly research is a little different than my process of like researching for a novel. Different and the same, but I need to finish writing some things before I can start reading. But now I'm getting back into the reading stage of research, and I love like reading other people write about monstrosity and objectivity and et cetera, et cetera. So all of it's going well. At rest. That sounds good. Well done. Yes, the end of the sentence is ... at rest. Thank you, Rachel. I feel like your name is Rachel. I feel like I do know that. I'm so bad at YouTube names because I just always see the handle. If your name is not Rachel, I'm so sorry. If it is, please congratulate me for that as well. But thank you for this. Congratulations. Okay, now on to Shay's 11 questions. And then if y'all don't have any more questions, I guess we'll be PC out. What have you learned about yourself since starting your channel? So now we in therapy. Wow. Just like that. What have I learned about myself? I've learned, learned, noticed, realized, I'm just going to broaden that, that I can really do what I want to out here. Like, and I'd say that for my channel, but that's really been something that I've like taken out into my everyday. So when I started my channel and it was very regimented, it was Tuesday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 days a week at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If any of y'all listen to Eliza Black, then you recognize that hook. But I went from that, right, to doing once a week, right, of Writerly Ambition. And then I went from that to my summer schedule of the second and fourth Tuesday. And then I was like, well, just whatever Tuesdays. And now I'm like, turn on your notification bell. And I don't see that as me becoming like less organized. I see that as me becoming aware of and being available to the way that my interest and my availability are fluctuating because of the other things that I'm doing in life and how those things are being blessed. And just letting myself follow my excitement. So I have learned about like I be making plans like the plans are not going to change. And I do like for plans not to change, but I've also realized that I do also like when plans can change. Like I am structured. I don't like surprises. I don't like changing plans, but I do sometimes like when plans change. And I wasn't necessarily aware of it about myself before. I was just aware of the rigidity, but I am pretty flexible. So that's something that I have learned about myself and learned to do more. And that has blessed me because the dissertation that I just sort of like glossed for y'all. And Margaret's question is not the dissertation that I had when I started my channel. It was about things that I really like. Wow, I don't even want to get into it, but it was good and worthy project. But it was a different canon. It was like Black women's postmodern literary fiction. So I was reading Beloved and Jazz by Toni Morrison. I was reading Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. I was reading Alice Walker by The Color Purple. I was reading Incidents Life of a Slave Girl, like as the foundation for my questions. And that was like all those. Oh my gosh, I was reading Corregidora by Gil Jones, Push by Sapphire. Really, really difficult books, like hard things happening to Black women. And I like a plan, so I wanted to execute the plan. But summer 2020 was wow. And I just couldn't. I really could not be reading about these horrible and violating things happening to Black women at the same time as we're seeing the spectacularized pain of Black people on every media outlet there is. And also we're in a whole hot spam sandwich, like globally. So I'm like, I can't do it. And I allowed myself to shift. And the book that I read that allowed me to shift is actually somewhere over there. But it's Ebony Elizabeth Thomas's, what is The Dark Fantastic, How Race and the Imagination from Harry Potter to the Hunger Games. That's a book that I actually buddy read with Deidre. And reading it, I was like, what? We can write about fantasy in district? Wait a minute. And that shifted everything. I would never have even heard of that book had I not been in this space. Because even though like she's a professor, I felt like my intention was like directed certain places. And I don't know that a professor would have handed me her book. And I don't know that like what I was reading would have like put me in the sphere of her thinking. And so many things that I've learned about myself since starting my channel, and thanks to this channel and thanks to this community. So thank you y'all for rocking with me and giving me recs and all the stuff. Okay. What did you think would be the hardest part about being a YouTuber now that I've done it for a while? Was I right or was I wrong? I thought the hardest part was going to be creating content. Brandy, thank you. Hot spam sandwich. Is it not ghetto by now? It feels ghetto to me. Like, man. But I thought the hardest part was going to be like coming up with content ideas. And that was never really an issue, actually. Like I planned out my first 12 episodes before I even started my channel. They were already recorded, edited, and ready to upload. So I had 3 months of content when I first said, hi, my name is Britt, and I'm a booktuber. Like that was already done. And from there, the well never really went dry. If anything, I was like, oh my gosh, I have so much I want to do. So that wasn't actually an issue. And especially when I started building relationships like with Shay, like with Bria at Lots of Booktician, and we started collaborating around things. I have plenty of content. Like that is not a thing. So I thought that was going to be the biggest thing, and like keeping my schedule was going to be the biggest thing. And content was abundant, and flexibility is recommended. So those things just didn't actually end up being as big or hurdle as I anticipated. If I had any advice for someone looking to start a channel, what would it be? I think what I've already said, which is absolutely have a plan. It helped me to have a plan. It took away so much stress for me to know that I had 3 months of content and that I was always ahead of the curve. I had time to like start that, figure out what it was to be here. School was starting. Like it just gave me flexibility to like be in these two spaces and learn how to multitask in these two spaces of grad school and booktube stuff and also writing. So like multitasking, like planning ahead will help you to multitask. If you're planning on starting a channel, um, just figure out the structure and know that it will change when you get in here and see what it is, but it will make you feel better to have a structure. How often do you want to upload? Be consistent with that, especially at first, so that like the YouTube algorithm can figure out how you're gonna fit in. It is racist as heck, so know that, but still, it helps the technology to know when to come to your side of the internet and like rope you in. So consistency is really important. Um, and stuff, what will help you to be consistent is bulk recording. So I obviously having 12 videos, like I bulk recorded for 3 days. I just went hard. Like I had my little scripts. The more I got into it, the more comfortable I got freestyling. But like I planned out that 12 pack of bulk recording very rigidly. Now you don't have to do 12, right? That's me. But figure out how often you want to upload and bulk record like a month. Um, Especially if you're like one video a week. A month is 4 videos. Bulk record that. That'll give you time to see how that's doing, how people are responding to it, give you time to like look around, et cetera, et cetera. So I would just say planning ahead your structure is great so that you have something to change, not just like you're constantly trying to build something. You already have the framework built and you can change that as necessary. So that would help me. That has helped me to just like not have any cares because I already have the thing built. I'm just changing how it looks. If you could change one thing about the booktube and the author community, what would it be? I mean, I wish that racial things weren't treated as content. Like, it's a thing every single time. That there's like a flush of videos that will come up about something when something happens in communities, and then we put it down and then never it's touched again, or only by a few. I wish that people who created really good content, who had great interaction, had bigger channels. Yeah, I'll just leave it there because I think we all could answer that question, and it has been multiple conversations. What's been the most surprising thing about being a content creator? Y'all are so nice. Other content creators are so nice. And that wasn't necessarily surprising, but I had never had internet associations before. I didn't even have a Twitter except for this channel. Like, so before this, I didn't have a Twitter. So I was like, how do people make friendships and talk to each other? And y'all are just so generous with your time and with your association, willing to allow it to be a friendship if the energy is right on both sides. So like I just really appreciate that. How do I feel about social media now that it's becoming a regular part of my content creation? It's annoying. Like sometimes I think it's fun and sometimes I'm just annoyed. And that's just that. Like making TikToks is fun. And sometimes like posting a video up on Instagram, like I guess I should put this up to be like thorough. So some days I love it, some days I don't. But I do appreciate the role that social media has played in helping me connect with, especially on the writing side, other authors, connecting with them, getting to ask them questions. Like those are not people who are necessarily interacting with my channel, but they interact with me on social media, which I'm only on because of my channel. So it's a necessary evil, but it has been a really fruitful place for me to build community. Okay, and the last question, what does 500 subscribers mean to you? I'm just so darn grateful. Like, I really was like, oh, wow, we're here. I don't know. I'm just grateful that I mean, not like 500 people are not watching my videos, but like some of those people subscribe because I'm Black and then they don't ever watch again. But for those of you who really show up to the Friday sprints, who really watch videos and comment, or just, watch and thumbs up or whatever, who have rung that notification bell, like, it means a lot that my content resonates with you, or that my personality or my energy draws you in, that the way that I read, and especially that, I think, maybe even mostly that, it's validating for the way that I read. So like, because of a lot of things, I don't read 20 books a month. Like, now, maybe if I log them, some months I do when I'm just like speeding through cozies, because I really do like how cozy does like background noise. So I could go through a cozy a day probably, because I'm driving, I'm cleaning, I'm doing whatever, like, and it's just playing in the background. But in general, I don't read 300 books a year. I just don't. That's never been a goal for me. I don't think it ever will be a goal for me. I love reading, but I'm not trying to have that goal. And so I was like, oh, well, I'm not doing hauls. I'm uploading my first haul on Tuesday. But that was not a goal for me. Like, I don't do hauls. I don't do unhauls. I don't do bookshelf tours. Like, my bookshelf game is just not up right now. And it probably won't be until I leave grad school and like have a space that I feel like comfortable growing into and really making my own. And so not having a video where I'm talking about 15 books, as opposed to, oh, I'm having a video where I talk about one book. I'm having a video where I explain what it means to protect Black women from the point of view of this Malcolm X quote that people are misusing, right? Like, those are videos that I didn't necessarily see on BookTube. And for people to interact with those videos, that content that's not the same as other channels, though, reading fewer books at a time and like having an hour-long conversation about one book on a regular basis, like, it meant to me that was okay, which I already knew that it was okay, but it's always nice to have people be like, yeah, I rock with that, that's fine. And so it just means that validation for the way that I interact with books and what I bring to the BookTube space. So I think that's an amazing question to end on. Thank y'all so much for coming. Thank you for 500 subscribers. Make sure you smash the like button on this video. And if you haven't already, ring that bell so you don't miss a single upload or live. Also, if you have not followed me on socials, definitely do. It's Britt Riderly on Instagram and on TikTok, and it's at true_Michelle_ on Twitter. Although if you put in Britt Riderly, it'll still bring you to me. So definitely follow me on socials, because I might ask you questions there. I might have like exclusive content there, etc., etc., etc. So if you don't want to miss anything, that's the safest place. And especially the farther along I get into my like publishing journey, my writing journey, more announcements will be on those social media platforms than like making an entire YouTube video that'll come later. So definitely the socials are the fastest places to get updates. Thank you, Tess, and thank you all. On to 600 to 700, 8, 9, 1,000, whatever. Onward. It's just good rocking with y'all. I'm not gonna lie, I almost clicked the leave studio button. We've done that before, but we've learned. So, all right. Thank y'all so much. Have an excellent Saturday and a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. Whether you celebrate it or not, just be with your family and love them hard. Y'all have a great day. Bye.